I'm at Voxxed Days Bucharest 2018, and I'm joined by Danilo Poccia from Amazon Web Services.
Exactly.
Danilo, thank you very much for joining us. I know that you're on a short schedule, running off to the airport now, and that you literally just came out of a session. So the session that you've just done was serverless without functions. Is that correct?
Serverless beyond functions.
Serverless beyond functions. So tell us a bit about what you covered this morning.
Yeah, so I'm really passionate about serverless technologies, the possibility to create these small functions that are executed in the cloud, and then you can link these functions to events, like if a user is calling an web API or a document or an image has been uploaded to the cloud, you can trigger your own business logic. It's really a different way than building these old-style, big monolithic applications, but you can distribute your business logic in small functions and link the business logic to the data that triggers them.
So that's what main use cases are you seeing from this at the moment? So who's really adopting this kind of approach?
So web application, mobile backends, there's a lot of adoption. Like in the US, there's Bustle. They have a website, and then they move to a complete serverless architecture, and they themselves describe how they are much faster in adding new features, and the overall cost is reduced. Or we have customers like still in the US, there's Fannie Mae. It's a federal agency. They monitor the mortgages in the US, and they use a serverless function that can spin up very quickly to do Monte Carlo simulations and run data analytics on top of their data. So what they love is that they can start from 0 to 1,000 concurrent functions, like having 1,000 servers in a few seconds, and then they can scale down in a few seconds transparently.
So there are major cost implications to this as well.
Cost is very important, but I think that when you adopt this approach, you discover that you're also much faster and agile in adding new features. So you don't need to think lots of boilerplate code for managing availability or patching. For example, when the last bug on the Intel processor was released, a few months ago, I think. After a few hours, we just posted that the Lambda platform was patched and ready to use. You didn't need to do anything on your code.
Fantastic. So in terms of other things that you covered in the session this morning, you've probably covered off some important points that all developers need to know. Any key takeaways for anybody looking to get into more of a serverless world?
Yeah, I think the number one key, I think, is think event-driven in your architecture. So try to link, distribute your logic to events. And events are really good in a distributed architecture because they are immutable data. So in a distributed architecture, immutable data is much easier to manage than some global state. So think of your architecture or a system where you receive events like a new user has been created, a new order has been inserted. Then you can store this information like a time series, and then you can trigger your logic every time you receive an event. So you have a history of your business events, and then you can link your logic to that. And probably the number two that is more technical, it was my final part of the presentation that I literally squeezed inside, is if you need to build a new API, think of GraphQL, because I think GraphQL as a platform for APIs is much more flexible than the old style REST APIs, and that's why we also created tools like AppSync for that. And I think it's really a good way to design a new API that it's easier to manage, to evolve, and to integrate with the clients in an efficient way.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.
Anybody watching this interview will also be able to see your session from this morning uploaded to YouTube. And safe travels.
Thank you.
Thank you.